Hello and welcome. You are listening to the At Home with Ifeno podcast. This podcast is for anyone, male and female, who believes that the home is the cornerstone and foundation of a flourishing society and a better world. Here, we'll guide you through the intricate journey of building a home that's not just a physical space. Whether you are single, preparing to share your life with another, a couple cultivating a shared dream, or parents tending to the garden of their children's hearts. Every other week, we'll talk about topics like practical tips on managing family finances, creating a beautiful home, conversations on courtship, marriage, parenting, and much more. The At Home with Ifeno podcast offers a rich tapestry of inspiration and support. Join us as we explore creating homes where love resides, families thrive in wisdom, and the seeds of a brighter future are sown, just as God intended. I am your host, Ifoma Nneka Omoniyi. Hello, and welcome to At Home with Ifeno. How are you today? It's a great day filled with possibilities despite whatever odds you are going through. I just want to say good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are connecting with us globally. How are you today? It's another beautiful day. I am so excited. I'm so excited. Anytime you see this extra, excitement in my voice, just know that I have a VIP with me on today's episode. I have a special guest. Just be patient. I will introduce her very soon. But I just want to know how you're doing. How are you doing? How is everybody at home? How are the children? How is your husband? How is your wife? How is work? How is the business? I hope everything is going well. And even if you are having a challenge or the other, one or two, I just want you to be rest assured that today's episode is going to encourage you not to give up. It's going to inspire you that you can do it, that you are an overcomer, because challenges are common to every one of us, including Ifeno that is here speaking with you. If I tell you the little things that tries to throw me off balance even before I come to air an episode, you will be like, oh wow. So if I know, yes, every one of us goes through challenges. But let me just prepare so that my guest can come up and she can start today's episode. So I want you to take away every distraction, get that sweet spot, get your water, your tea, your coffee if you're at home or you're in your shop, or maybe you are driving. Please just give us your listening attention, and it promises to be a rewarding time as you invest this moment listening to us on At Home with Ifeno. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please go to YouTube and just type in At Home with Ifeno podcast, and you'll see also you subscribe, like our episodes. Please share a comment, drop a message, and we will definitely respond to your message. Thank you for doing that, and please share today's episode with someone. You never know who would be saved. You never know who could be encouraged by listening to the episode. So please, I want you to give a warm At Home with Ifeno welcome to my guest. Her name is Mrs. Chimmuanya Ngele. You're welcome, ma.
Thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
How are you today, ma?
I'm fine, and you?
I'm doing very well. Sometimes when I look back at how God brings people to our lives, I just say, because you never know, you never know why God connects you with people. I just want to just drop this here today, that do not take your relationships for granted. I have known Chimmuanya, I think about Is it up to 2 decades, 20 years or
Yeah,
about that? Yes,
20.
yes, yes, yes. But do you know the interesting thing about our relationship? I can't remember when I saw her last physically, to be very sincere. I think after the moment I met her, we've just been in touch, with our phones. And interestingly, do you know we share the same wedding anniversary? She got
Yes, so
married the
crazy.
same day and the same year I got married. Can you imagine? But over the years, I've tried to keep in touch with her, and I'm so excited that she's here to share her story with us. Thank you so much, Mrs. Chimmuanya. And
Thank
before we go into today's episode, can you just share what you do to relax? I know you're in the academia, a lot of work with your students and everything. What do you do to relax?
Well, as an academic, how many times do you have the opportunity for relaxation? Well, just like you said, I teach in a university. I teach French and Francophone studies. Relaxation, like what I'm doing now, is part of relaxation. I talk about my life. I talk to people, try to encourage other people. I also try to do a lot of writing, just also part of encouragement to
Hmm.
encourage people. Yeah.
Okay. So Mrs. Chimwanya,
Mm.
she writes, and she also encourages people through her writing, through maybe also doing something like what we're doing today, sharing her story. Thank you for sharing your relaxation tips. So our topic for today is what I tag navigating life's challenges with the power of choices. Like I said earlier, everyone goes through challenges. Nobody is immune to it. It will definitely come whether you plan it or you don't plan it. So, what is choice? As in, can you share with our listeners what choice is and how the power of choices can help in navigating the challenges in life?
Okay, choice, there are so many definitions, but choice is a decision. I'm giving my own definition. It's a decision, it's picking a response to a situation. For example, if you have blouses you want to go and buy, you have green, lemon green, teal green, leaf green, olive green. You now choose olive green. That means you have picked, you have decided that for some reason, olive green is better than the lemon green. So, in respect to to life challenges, that means that you had a lot of options, but then you took a decision on which one to pick. That's
Hmm.
choice.
Hmm. Wow. So, in summary, our choices are actually they stem up from decisions, as in you have a decision to make, and then you now have to choose what decision you believe, would help to navigate whatever it is. Thank you so much.
Mm.
So, I know that when I met you about 20 years ago, I actually did not know the details of this journey you are going to share, interestingly. So I would like you to just share with our listeners your journey in navigating life challenges through the choices you have made in the area of your personal development, in your career, in marriage, and also in parenting. While I have coined out these various areas is because At Home with Ifeno is very big on family life, on our personal development. So could you just share your journey so far, how you have thrived over life's challenges through the choices you have made in these various areas of your life? Thank you.
Okay, let me start by telling people that I am visually impaired. A technical term for that is legally blind.
Hmm.
I was not born like this. I was born with very, I don't want to say perfect because they say nothing is perfect, but
Hmm.
near perfect vision. That was what I was born with. Then, along the line, I had an ailment which the doctor called pseudotumor cerebral. That simply means that the cranial cavity imagines a tumor and begins to act as though there's really one there. Meanwhile, there's none. So that's it, and it causes a lot of complications, one of which is the damage of the optic nerves. And that is how we came to this. This is about 22 years ago when this happened. And since then, I had to live with what is called partial sight. That means absolutely no vision on one eye and very little vision on another eye. And it was hard. Education, going to school, going through life, getting a job, getting so many things. But I'm here today. When we say navigating life challenges, let's look at that term, navigating. It means going through, finding your way. You know, navigating is usually used in the sailing industry.
Yeah.
When the ship is trying to find its way to a destination. It means that there's already a destination, but there are obstacles. There's the wind, there's the storm, and other things. So now, how do you navigate with that? I'll go back to myself. I had to live with a lot of things. Of course, not having your vision is very difficult, gives mobility problems. You don't know where to go, how to go, who to assist you. And you also don't know who will accept you. Our culture is not very friendly to people who are handicapped. There's always the impression that you can't make it. How will you do this? Can you really make it? So the handicap has a lot to battle against. And also you have the challenge of finance. Being handicapped is very expensive. What will cost other people 10 naira will cost you 20 or 30 because you will have to move with a help, with somebody assisting you. And so now when we talk about choices, like I said, you look at options first. What are the options? Begging is an option. You can beg. Soliciting pity is an option. You can allow people use pity to give you things. You don't work for anything. You just sit and wait for handouts due to pity. Depression is an option. But then what among these options, which one is viable? And I'll say none for me. Because pity has its elastic limit. People will only give you what they don't want. And there's a time they'll get fed up with you. Begging also comes with its own problems. Depression, and after that you die, what next? So I decided I'd sit up and walk. It wasn't easy. I had to learn the use of so many apparatus, but I had to learn them. I went back to school. I finished the first degree. I finished the master's degree. I finished the PhD. I got married. I had children. I'm still raising my children. And that's the choice I decided to make. So that's the thing about choices. You look at the options and you decide which option will take me to the promised land. But that means you already know the direction of the promised land. So you are now looking at which of the many ways can I get there. That is it. You know where you are going. So you now start looking for how to get there, even with the challenge, whether financial challenge, health challenge, like in my own case, or whatever the problem may be.
Wow. So navigating is that you are trying to find your way through the obstacles that would show themselves in our journey of life. And I'm sure we listened to her story in summary. She wasn't born, to be challenged with her sight, but it happened. But she didn't allow it to take over her life, and she has been navigating life challenges through the choice. She told us how, there are options. You could just say, well, this is my life, and then that is how I find myself, and give excuses. So, Mrs. Chimmuanya, how can you share how you have handled not being taken advantage of? Because you said that you have been able to overcome or navigate life with the help of an assistant in one way or the other. What can you tell our listeners that has helped you, to maybe minimize being taken advantage of by family, by friends, and even strangers? If you mind, could you share how you've been able to handle that area?
Okay, the first thing is don't be too dependent.
Mm,
Do what you can do so that the people can help you do what you cannot do.
mm,
But when you leave them to do the one you can do and the one you cannot do, it becomes a problem.
mm,
Another thing is you don't make yourself appear so vulnerable. I have interacted with so many people, mostly the visually impaired, even people who are having other forms of impairments, maybe those who are crippled. I
mm,
know that nobody is totally uh, useless or nobody is totally incapable.
mm,
You're just incapable in some ways. And so if you do those ones that you're capable of, another area is that you have to encourage those who are helping you. You don't have to overburden them.
mm.
Encourage them maybe with your words. This condition can be very frustrating. It can make somebody become cantankerous, but no, you don't do that. But apart from that, it's the way you carry yourself. I always have this quote: if you don't say you are, nobody will say thou art.
Mm.
Even God, because He said I am, and that's how we worship Him, we say thou art. So the way you carry yourself will make people know that you may have a problem, but you are not a walkover. They cannot just take advantage of you.
So it still boils down to us as individuals. That's what Mrs. Tremoya is saying.
Yeah.
Don't the way you see yourself is the way people will take you. Maybe I can
Some,
put it that way. So the
some,
way you see yourself, what you believe about yourself, it will be reflected out, and that's how people will treat you, that's how they will take you. So don't attract unnecessary self-pity and those negative energy, so that you can live to your fullest potential despite whatever challenges have come across your way as we journey in life. Thank you so much for that response. Now, Ms. Chimaya, how would you encourage my listeners? We have parents that are likely to be listening to this, and through your journey, because what happened to you, happened to you while you were not yet completely independent. You were still with your parents. You were not yet married, and now we notice that many children are raised in a way that they don't have this resilience. They don't have this inner drive that can make them overcome challenges, that can cause them to have decision making, that power, that prowess of encouraging them to solve problems. We see many of us parents trying to save our children, not allowing them to go through the process and to bring out that tenacity and that resilience that is lying inside them. So what will you tell parents today about teaching their children that power of choice, not to allow challenges, no matter how small, whether it's in their school work or something has happened to them? What will be your advice for parents today, using your own unique journey as an example?
Okay, what will be my advice? First of all, I like the word you use, saving them. You know, I'll address parents in two ways. I'll address parents generally and parents that have children with physical challenge. Sometimes as parents, we try to save our children from what we had. Or let me put it this way. You try to give your children what you did not have, and then you fail to give them what you did have. Because you did have discipline, and that discipline formed you. You did have some form of independence, and that independence taught you how to think. You did have the opportunity to practice sweeping the house, cleaning, and that helped you to become who you are. But sometimes we feel that we were so maltreated when we were children, and that makes us determined not to maltreat our children. And we begin to create dependent children, which will be detrimental to us at the end of the day. And part of it is not seeing something as training. If you see something you passed through as punishment, it becomes a problem. For instance, using my own life, when this happened, my mom was still alive. She still is. My father was still alive. He still is. And I was with them. But they never created that dependency in me. And I didn't appreciate it until I became a lecturer and started dealing with disabled students and saw that a lot of them have been over-pampered. In fact, I had a particular case where I had to shout at a mother. I said, your child's case is better than my own. Have your child told you that I too am disabled and her case is much better than my own? And what you are doing to this child, you are doing a disservice to her. Because every time following her about, and my words came to pass, when the child graduated, she graduated with a very poor result. Because she was always looking for pity from lecturers. She never sat up to read, sat up to study. She was just hiding under the curtains of sick, I am not well, this, it rubbed off. I told her to rub off, and it did. So you have to teach students or children, in this case, to be able to stand up for themselves. And always keep in mind that you will not always be with that child. Parents grow old. Mine are getting really old now. And at a point, you now need these children to take care of you. If you take care of them throughout, if you make their choices for them, you never allow them to practice critical thinking, then when it's time for them to take care of you, you have to take care of yourself, because they don't know what to think of for you. They were not taught to think. Now, specifically to parents that have physically challenged children, it can be overwhelming. It can be overwhelming. But the first thing it says is in the scripture. It says, by strength shall no man prevail. The worst mistake you can make is to try to do it by yourself. You need to ask God for help every day. You need to ask God for direction every day. And you also need to come to terms with the fact that this child did not bargain for this problem, because it can be quite frustrating, and you begin to take it out on that child and think that maybe the child is keeping you from doing something. This child did not bargain for that problem. It came. And so the same way you are dealing with something you didn't plan for, he or she is dealing with something she didn't plan for. But with patience, of course, which comes through prayer, you can navigate that particular challenge. And another word I will drop on that end is when the Bible says he will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are stayed on him. So if you keep your mind on Christ, keeping your mind on Christ is actually on his word, because his word cannot be separated from his personality. You will see that you always find that strength to continue.
Wow. So parents, we have been encouraged not to overindulge our children, not to over-pamper them. She said something at the beginning that we try to give them what we didn't have and end up not giving them what we have. And that is one mistake we must make sure we do not make. Thank you so much for that parenting tip. Now it's time for Mrs. Ngele to tell us more about herself. How can we connect with you on any of your social media handles? I know you teach. I know you are very passionate about teaching, especially with the language French. So please, can you just share your online presence? Do you have courses that people can connect with? I'll definitely drop the links, of whatever Mrs. Chimmuanya is going to talk about, or just let our listeners know how they can connect with you after this episode on At Home with Ifeno. Do you have courses, programs, or your social media handles, how people can connect with you, and any other thing you want to share about yourself? So the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, like I said, I'm a lecturer. But apart from teaching in the university, I also teach French privately. And if
Okay.
you just Google my name, Pearl Ngele, on Preply, that's the platform I use, Preply, you can find me there. Also, I share my story a lot. I shared it last year at TEDx Enugu. I know she'll share the link too. I'm
Yeah.
also on Facebook, and that's where I do a lot of my writing. Like I said, to encourage young people. And being a lecturer, that forces me to be a researcher. So I'm on ResearchGate, and I can easily be traced there too. My passion, apart from French language teaching, because I have a strong passion in that area, teaching people the language, my passion also is to encourage people, just like she said, to make the right choices, to go through challenges with God. I am seeing something in the youth today that is worrying me. Perhaps it's the westernization we are going through, where people don't believe in God again. You either believe in money, or you believe in your power, your strength, your intelligence, or in somebody who can help you. But I believe that if God does not help you, nobody can help you. That's what His word says. If He doesn't build a house, nobody can build it. So I have a particular passion for redirecting the youth towards making it the godly way. When we say she has made it, she has made it. But let us make it the godly way. That's
Okay. Okay, so I will share her links, her TEDx talk that she has had. That was what inspired me to invite her to At Home with Ifeno, and
Thank you for
she's on Facebook. Okay, for the French classes you have, do you have a link or something is it an online class?
Yes, I
Is it
use
online
that.
classes?
Yes. I can share the link with you to
Okay.
put there, or also anybody can go to Preply. That is Preply. Preply. When you do search for a tutor, if you just put my name, I'm one of the tutors on Preply.
Okay, so I will get that detail too, to add in a way that once they click on it, I'm sure they will be able to reach out to your French classes. I
Yeah.
believe so. Okay. So in closing, what will be your three key nuggets? As we have already established that challenges are common to us all. But how do we now navigate through the life's challenges that come our way? What would be three things you want our listeners not to forget, even if they can't remember any other thing you said? What would be three keys that you believe if they hold tightly to it and act on them, that they will definitely overcome whatever challenge comes their way?
The first thing I will always say, and I'll say that again, is that you don't choose a problem. You can't choose a problem, but you can choose your response to that problem. So always knowing you have something facing you, that you didn't choose this, but now you begin to ask yourself, what is my response? Secondly, choose a response that will solve the problem, because sometimes we respond and we feel we have solved the problem but created a bigger one instead. I use my own case, for example. If you begin to live on pity, oh, I'm blind, you may make it through school, but can you make it through life? Can you make your profession that way? So don't bring a bigger problem while you're trying to solve a smaller one. And always rely on God. I believe, just like I said when I said redirecting people towards God, I believe that the Bible has answers for every questions. Every question we have in our heart. It's a pity when people begin to look elsewhere. I believe that the Word of God has everything. And finally, I know they say 3, but let me add finally, you choose your company. Jesus knew what he was passing through on this earth, so he chose the people who will walk with him, those who will help him achieve that. So choose your company. You may not be able to choose your acquaintance, your colleagues, but choose the people who will be your friends. Many people have gone astray because of friends. When you are having challenges, it's not just anybody that should be around you. You should choose those who you know can help you.
Wow. So if you notice, everything she said had to do with choice. So she has demonstrated the power of our choices. She said the first thing is you need to know that you have to choose your response. You might not be able to choose the problem or the challenge that comes, but your response is your choice. Secondly, she talked about choosing, not to make, your response lead you to a bigger problem. So don't magnify the challenge over how you should respond to it. She now talked about choosing to rely on God. God is our source. We came from him. If he allowed whatever has happened to us, then it means that there is something, he has at the back of his mind. Many times our challenges actually come to grow us, depending on the way we see it and the way we respond to it. And lastly, she said, choose your friends wisely. Choose the people that surround you when you are going through whatever challenge. You cannot just have anybody and everybody in your boat so that you do not sink. So this episode is very, very timely, and I know that we will keep coming back to it to listen, to get the wisdom tips so that we will make the right choices as we navigate life's challenges. Thank you so much, Mrs. Chimmuanya. I'm so delighted to have you. And we hope when we call you again, you'll be willing to come and share your experiences. Maybe you come and, encourage our young ones to be resilient no matter what comes their way, that they can do it. They can do it. They have all it takes. Thank you so much, and looking forward to seeing you again on At Home with Ifeno. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the At Home with Ifeno podcast. Check us out on Instagram at Ifeno17 and on YouTube at Home with Ifeno podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch every new episode and leave us a comment so we can build a strong community. See you in 2 weeks' time.